You think your dad was special forces? The cop chuckled, folding his arms with that smirk only arrogance can buy. Sweetheart, every vet says that. The girl, barely 16, clutched her backpack tighter. Her blue eyes shimmered, not with fear, but with quiet fury. You shouldn't talk about my dad like that, she said softly. What happened next would leave that cop speechless for the rest of his career. Hey everyone, before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because what you're about to hear isn't just a story, it's a lesson about honor, love, and never judging by appearances. It all started on a cold morning at the local precinct. Emily was sitting in the waiting area, trembling slightly, not because of fear but because she had just seen her father being led inside in handcuffs. Jack Miller, a quiet, worn-out single dad who raised her after her mother passed away, was being accused of resisting arrest. The officers said he'd gotten into a confrontation at the grocery store when someone harassed a cashier. But what they didn't know, what none of them could have known, was that Jack wasn't just any veteran. He had once served in one of the most secretive and dangerous units in the world, Delta Force. He'd spent years saving lives behind enemy lines. Yet he never bragged, never told war stories. He was just Dad. The man who packed Emily's lunch, worked double shifts, and still made it to every one of her school plays, quietly sitting in the back, clapping the loudest. But today, his calm dignity was met with laughter and disbelief. Officer Daniels, the loudmouthed cop, leaned against the desk. Special Forces, huh? He mocked. Next you'll tell me he was Captain America. Emily's heart twisted. She had heard stories, bits and pieces, whenever nightmares woke her father up at night. The names of friends he lost, the places he'd never forget. The small black tattoo on his shoulder, the Delta Force dagger, was the only visible proof of the life he'd left behind. But to this cop, it was a joke. She could have stayed silent. But she didn't. He doesn't brag about it, she said, stepping closer. Because real heroes don't have to. Her voice was shaking, but her courage filled the entire room. That's when another officer, older and quieter, turned from his desk. His name was Captain Harris, a veteran himself. His eyes narrowed as he heard her words. What did you say his name was? Jack Miller, Emily answered. Harris froze. The room seemed to grow still. Jack Miller from the 3rd SFODD unit. He whispered. Daniels laughed again. Oh come on, sir, you can't be serious. But Harris didn't laugh. He stood up, walked toward the holding area, and looked through the small window in the door. Inside sat Jack, calm as ever, his hands folded, staring at the wall. Harris knocked on the door softly. My God, he muttered. I know that man. Daniels frowned. Wait, you know him? Harris nodded slowly. He was there in Kandahar, 2007. He saved my entire team from an ambush. I wouldn't be standing here if it weren't for him. Silence. The color drained from Daniel's face. Within minutes, the atmosphere in the precinct shifted entirely. The same officers who had mocked Jack were now staring in stunned disbelief as Harris personally unlocked the cell. Sir, I'm sorry, he said quietly. Jack simply nodded. It's okay. I understand. Not everyone believes in ghosts they can't see. Emily rushed into her father's arms, tears streaming down her face. I told them, Dad. I told them who you are. Jack smiled faintly. You didn't have to, sweetheart. I stopped being a soldier a long time ago. But Harris shook his head. You'll always be one, Jack. Some of us never forget. Later that day, as they stepped outside into the fading light, Daniels approached, his voice low. Sir, I'm truly sorry for doubting you. Jack looked at him for a long moment. Don't be sorry for doubting, officer. Be sorry for mocking something you didn't understand. The words hit harder than any punishment could. Weeks later, the story quietly spread through the precinct. No official records, no medals, no glory. Just whispers of the man who once led missions no one talked about, and the daughter who reminded everyone that respect isn't earned through fear, but through character. Emily never forgot that day. She saw her father, not as a hero from a story, but as the man who bore his scars in silence, who carried his duty without ever demanding thanks. And that cop, he never laughed at a veteran again. Before you scroll, remember this, heroes walk among us every day. They don't wear capes or badges of honor. Sometimes, they're just quiet fathers doing their best. If this story touched your heart, tap like to honor every veteran, and subscribe for more real, emotional stories that remind us what true courage really looks like. Because sometimes, the strongest warriors are the ones who never say a word.